Welcome back, YouTubers, to our TNA Impact Wrestling video, which we do every Thursday night, of course with a British fist.
Gotcha.
I'm Mr. Parkin, and this guy sitting next to me is the one and only NJ!
What's up?
Or as Chrissy Hen would say, NJ! Yeah, brilliant. Great introduction there,
Yeah,
Chrissy.
thanks.
Make sure you guys subscribe up above, of course, like this video, comment your thoughts on the Impact Wrestling show we had tonight down below.
Make sure you contact us in the links in the group box below.
That's very hypnotic, NJ, I'll give you that.
Thank you.
Man, let's just start off with the opener. The opener this week, we have Ric Flair coming out. He's in the main event, so I guess that kind of makes sense. Then he calls out the Stinger, and they have this little back and forth where they're just cutting promos on each other. I kind of like the explosiveness of this. You know, with Ric Flair and Stinger, especially with their characters, that there's going to be an explosive opening segment. It was 5 minutes long, very short and to the point, wasn't it? Which is more than you can imagine from a normal TNA opening promo.
Sure, give it that. It was definitely from two of these old men in the ring together. It definitely got to the point quickly.
Yeah, and the security come out and stop them fighting, or maybe to take Flair to the old people's zone. But I thought it was a good segment. Just it was short and to the point and very sweet. So it hyped up for the main event, which I thought was good, and I thought it served its purpose. So
It did.
Decent open to the show. Better than an Immortal promo. That's all I can say. Next, we have an 8-person tag team match: Mexican America versus Devon Pope, Miss Teschmacher, and Tara. And I know that Mexican America are in a rivalry with Devon and Pope at the moment, but God, this match was just so much big clusterfuck, wasn't it?
There was just nothing good about this match. Again, I think it was mainly for Pope and Devon to get their payback on Mexican Americans. That was all.
So I really want to know who's going to be going up against Mexican America at the pay-per-view. I don't want it to be Devon and Pope. Hopefully in these next coming weeks we'll see who they're going to face. That's what I hope anyway.
I'm hoping near the time we get these other tag teams that are not even doing much in TNA at the minute to get involved.
We haven't heard much of Ink lately. Maybe we'll see them.
Hopefully.
Tara and Teschmacher get the pin on Rosita and Sarita. So I guess technically the males, the tag team champions didn't lose, but the knockouts tag team champions did win. So I guess that kind of makes sense in a booking sense. But it's just the match was just a big huge clusterfuck.
That's true. That's
pretty
all it
much.
Was. Yeah.
So we also get a backstage segment after this with Karen Angle with the TNA knockouts. Basically, over the next 3 weeks, we're going to be getting 3 qualifying matches for a match at Bound for Glory for the knockouts title. Now, we know that I think this now I like this because it now means we know what we're going to be getting for the next 3 weeks. Number 1, contendership matches for a potential fatal 4-way or 4 corners matches, TNA let's call it, at the pay-per-view. What are your thoughts on this, Finn?
I think it's definitely giving the knockouts something to do over a period of time. It's given us something, so hopefully we're going to get good matches between the knockouts that Karen Jarman picked out for us. And the way I'm seeing it is, I do hope someone different ends up winning this whole tournament, and he gives us a new opponent for
Winter.
Yeah.
So over these next couple of weeks, we're going to be getting a knockout segment, and we're going to know what each segment is because of the match is going to be pre-announced. So I guess that's good. It's going to lead us, and hope for the next couple of shows in terms of hype for the next show. So I kind of like the way this is done. The fatal 4-way at the pay-per-view is going to hype each week for the pay-per-view, which is, good for the biggest pay-per-view of the year for TNA.
And again, I like the whole tournament thing. They're just building up to this final big match, which I'm looking forward to.
Yes, indeed. Right. Next, we get a segment involving the Whole of Fortune, all 5 of them, even though there's 4 of them, but there we go. Basically, AJ Styles, Kazarian, James Storm, and Christopher Daniels put over Roode as the next whatever champion. I did like the way they did this because Roode has just won the biggest tournament of his life. He's got all his friends there and everything, so it's good to see his friends actually putting him over as the next champion, just to big him up and make him into this new star that TNA really wants him to blossom into, it seems.
They did it very well, and all I can say is that I beat AJ Styles.
How did you beat him?
I just beat AJ Styles on that pay-per-view.
On that pay-per-view? Wasn't it on free TV?
I beat AJ Styles.
Oh, no, okay, whatever, fair enough. We then get Kurt Angle coming out, because he did beat Christopher Daniels, I think, I don't know when. And he basically, what he does is he books Robert Roode in a match every week going into Bound for Glory against a member of Fortune. What do you think of this whole booking Roode against every member of Fortune thing going into Bound for Glory?
Well, they all, I'm pretty sure, are jealous of Bobby Roode
which they expressed in the promo somewhat by Angle, wasn't it?
And I think that Angle's actually done the right thing because obviously it's going to give us great matches because we had great wrestlers in the ring.
Yeah, the matches are going to be good. These guys are all going to have great chemistry in the ring. We're going to have a match a week again, which is good hype for the following Impact Wrestling tapings. And I think this will tell a good story. You've got Robert Roode there, who's this rising star, and you've got him facing guys like AJ Styles, Christopher Daniels, legends in TNA and the indie scene, and it's going to tell a good story, isn't it? Just from the way that he's got to go through his friends to get to his ultimate goal, which is the World Heavyweight Championship.
And I can see they're going to build up Bobby Roode to be this great number one contender. So I think he's going to beat his Fortune member friends.
Yes. And it was good to see actual crowd reaction, wasn't it, from the Impact Zone? We don't usually get it, but we actually heard chants for Bobby, Bobby, which was good because it means people are getting behind Bobby Roode, and it means that they're doing a good job putting him over, really, as well. Angle and the other guys too. So
they're all starting to understand that Bobby Roode is going to be this next future big star in TNA, so they did a good job at building him up. I
thought this was a very good segment. I really did. I really thought putting Bobby Roode over in the Impact Wrestling taping after No Surrender was a good idea. So all in all, I thought this was a very good segment. Yourself?
I agree. I think it just did great for Bobby Roode, and it's got all the Fortune members involved. So
looking forward to that main event now. Angle versus Roode at Bound for Glory, brother. Next we get the first Queen's Qualifier match between Angelina and Velvet Sky. And this match went 5 minutes. Had an advert in it, but it was it was okay. It wasn't terrible. But the thing is, you've got Velvet Sky in there. She's not the most accomplished wrestler, and I don't think Angelina is good enough to carry Velvet Sky. But Velvet Sky gets the win, so I guess this is TNA's way of getting her into this Bound for Glory series Fatal 4-Way.
Just the way they finished it, they had the championship.
Winter
accidentally hit, knock her
Angelina,
out.
And that's the way Velvet Sky wins it. It's kind of a cheap way of winning it, which I guess kind of makes sense because she's not the best wrestler. You can't really, and she gets her finisher in there, but 5 minutes, it gets her in there, so I guess it was a decent hype to the pay-per-view, and they're calling it Queen's Qualifiers, so
we'll get a queen at the end of it.
Yeah, well, we already know who the real queen is, but there we go. It's not Karen fucking Jarrett, I'll give you that.
No.
We then get a segment when we hear from Crimson via satellite. He talks about Samoa Joe, that he should have won the Bound for Glory series, that he's happy for Roode, and he says that his return is in 2 weeks. So he hypes his return, and we get to hear from Crimson, which is nice to... What are you doing?
Let me tell you this. I promise you this. Samoa Joe will get hurt.
Man, I imagine Samoa Joe kick your ass. You're no Crimson.
No, that's what he did. Just
yeah, it was good to hear from Crimson. A decent segment, I guess. Hyping his return in 2 weeks' time, right before Bound for Glory. Good idea, TNA. We then get a rematch from the No Surrender pay-per-view between Samoa Joe and Matt Morgan in a submissions rules match. Apparently, Samoa Joe asked for the rematch after Matt Morgan beat him. I'm not sure I like this whole having a match on free TV just after we've had to pay it at the pay-per-view. It kind of rubs salt in the wounds a little bit there, doesn't it?
It does. And the thing about this is the match itself, it was good because they both had their own power over each other. It went on for a good amount of minutes.
4.5, 5. It wasn't long, was it?
Not the longest matches, but I do say that what happened in that match was good.
Yeah. I just wonder if TNA are building this for Bound for Glory. We've already seen it twice now. We've already seen 2 clean finishes. So if they're going to build it for Bound for Glory, the match itself is not exactly going to have too much importance, unless they're going to do Crimson versus Samoa Joe, of course.
I think that's what they're going to build to, and this is just filler. But at the same time, they've had Matt Morgan win 1, now Samoa Joe win now.
Yeah, definitely. So we get throughout the night. Also, we got a couple of backstage segments with Jeff Hardy, going to people like AJ Styles and Devon, and them saying things like this blah blah blah. You had all these backstage segments with Jeff Hardy. Why are they showing these? I don't really understand. I know they're trying to hype his return. Unless they're definitely going to have a match with him for Glory, I'm not really sure why they're doing these backstage segments.
I guess it's just to see what the other TNA members think of Jeff and his whole job thing. We had AJ who went very happy. Yep. Devon who was showing him we still got faith and you go out there and prove yourself. And
fellow tag team wrestlers like they are.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking that obviously I don't think Jeff was needed that many times on the night. It could have just had that backstage talk thing and that was it.
He was featured twice, and I'm not really sure, maybe feature him once, but not twice. I mean, could you not use that time to make some of the matches longer, get rid of some of these backstage segments and make some of the matches longer, or you get Austin Aries, instead of having him in a pre-tape like he was, have him in a ring segment? I don't know. We then get the match which was announced in the promo with Robert Roode versus Kazarian. This was a good match. I enjoyed this match. And the match I thought told a great story too, because you had them, fighting each other a little bit and that it got very serious, and it seemed like the story was Kaz was testing Robert Roode to see if he was ready, and it turns out he was ready.
And Kazarian was really going for
Yeah.
it. He weren't just holding back. He's actually showing that he wants to be a part of the match. He wants to have a fight against his brother, and it was just again a good match. I think.
They got 6 minutes. Bobby Roode wins by submission. They seem to be making him into this submission machine now, don't they, with the crossface?
They're doing pretty well with that, I think.
Yep. And then afterwards, after Robert Roode wins the match in 6 minutes, we get a backstage segment between the two again. I like the way they featured Bobby Roode a lot tonight. It really shows they've got a lot of faith in him and they're booking him quite well.
They're giving him mic time backstage, which is definitely giving him just to show that he's going to be a future good person on the mic and a challenger.
Definitely. It was good how they did that. A good match and a good segment. It told a great story, didn't it? And I think it will continue doing that for the next couple of weeks, going into Bound for Glory, no doubt.
Because the next opponent is Christopher Daniels.
Yeah, and then after that, and then after that, it's going to be AJ Styles, I imagine.
Yeah, probably will.
So there we go.
And then against is tag team
James Storm.
Yeah.
We then get we get announcement of matches for next week, which I like because it shows we're going to get something. Shows what we're going to be getting next week. We're going to be getting that Queen's qualifier match. Christopher Daniels versus Robert Roode, and we're also going to get an X Division Championship match as well. So
and the Buddy Ray, Buddy Ray
tag team match.
Yeah, the tag team match.
The Jerry Lynn, Bully Ray versus RVD and Mr. Anderson.
That's it. Yeah, coming out now.
Don't get it, but there we go. Combining two feuds, I imagine. And then we got after that. Before that actually, we got an Austin Aries pre-tape where he talks about next week defending the X Division title, and I just think to myself, like, with a guy like Austin Aries, he's just won the X Division Championship. Is this all he gets? Like, could you not have got rid of some of them backstage segments that went on way too long and have him in an in-ring segment? Just a thought.
It would have been good. Obviously, he's the champion now, so it's good to give him more in-ring time. It would have been good.
They need to because he's one talented motherfucker. But there he is. We also got a backstage segment with Jerry Lynn and Bully Ray, which I felt was a little bit stupid. Could have had this next week rather than this week because the match wasn't this week. So I guess it was decent hype for next week's show. But I think they recorded this match this week, as it said on the spoilers, and they didn't do it because of the main event and the time that went.
Did you do that TNA spoilers?
Yeah, well there we go. Just like SmackDown every week. Anyway, let's get on to the main event because this is essentially what is this. This is essentially what is the main part of the show because this got a lot of time.
And the best part of the show.
I was wondering what the fuck was going on there. You had Ric Flair versus Sting. This got 11 minutes. It was slow. We knew it was going to be slow because Ric Flair was in it, of course. But from what I heard this was a fucking awful match, and I think TNA had obviously cleverly edited some stuff out because the match didn't seem as bad as I originally thought it would, even though it wasn't the greatest match ever. Sting really had to slow down for Flair a lot, didn't he?
I noticed that, and obviously Ric Flair weren't actually having as much control in the match as he used to have. But
no. And I do feel if you don't have the wrestling ability anymore, you make up for that in crowd psychology and the way you work the crowd. And I just didn't feel like they did that. I mean, that's what you do when you lack wrestling ability. You use your strengths to your strengths. And they didn't really do that. And I don't think Flair did that too much in this match.
Even though the thing about this match is that Flair didn't need to do much in this match because by the end of the match, out comes Immortal.
Of course, Immortal comes out because that's Hogan's plan B. Basically, Immortal comes out. Sting and Mr. Anderson, his music is going off while the match is going, which is a bit stupid. Sting and Mr. Anderson clear the ring so that Sting obviously can get the victory via submission on Ric Flair. And I just have one question to ask to Ric Flair. WrestleMania 24 or Impact Wrestling in Orlando, Florida? How would you want to end your career? Because I think I know how I would want to end my career in wrestling. Just saying.
The big build-up you had in WWE, that should have finished you off.
Yeah, definitely. We end the match with a Sting and Hogan stare down. This is teasing that we're going to get a Sting Hogan match like we thought, but we've been hearing news lately that TNA might not be doing this match. Thank God, eh?
We may get a tag team triple threat. Yeah. Just those ideas.
Yeah. So look forward to what's going on next week in terms of like Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair in this match because we really don't know what's going on, but we assume from this that it would happen. But then after reading some news, it seems like it might not. So hopefully it doesn't happen, but it might. It's going to be something. There's a lot to do with Hogan here. So
after that match, I really don't think that him versus Hogan's going to be anything spectacular.
I just can't believe this match got 11 minutes. It just got way more time than any other TNA main event, didn't it?
Which is quite horrible because past matches you've had bigger matches than this.
It was very slow too, so it's hard to really get into. If they used a lot of crowd psychology, I would have been a bit more into it. But there we go. So a not so good main event, which we kind of expected. Very slow. Overall thoughts on the show this week, then, NJ. I'll let you get yours out of the way first.
Okay, we had a good involvement of Bobby Roode.
Definitely.
Obviously, he's the one who's going to go up against Kurt Angle next. It's good to give him a build up. We got future matches announced, which is good.
Knockouts and Bobby Roode.
Yeah, so it's gave us a good hype up for the next couple of weeks up to the pay-per-view. We didn't get to see Eric Young.
Thank God for that. Or Jeff Jarrett. But we did.
Well, he came out at the end
for like 2 seconds. That's it. That's all right. I don't mind.
And other than that, I think it was an okay show. It gave us things to look forward to, so I'll say it's an okay show.
I mean, yeah, it was an okay show. It was nothing special. I did like, as NJ said, I like the way they featured Bobby Roode throughout the whole night. That's how you book a #1 contender who's just won a huge tournament like he has. We had a good match between Bobby Roode and Kaz. We got the groundwork laid for Bound for Glory for Robert Roode now, who they're facing Kurt Angle. We've seen interaction between them two. We've also got the groundwork laid for the Knockouts Championship, which I thought was very good too. It's a good little tournament they do, and I'm very for that. The main event was bad, which kind of affected the show. But the show seemed to flow okay in part. We had a lot of backstage segments and a lot of pointless ones too.
The sad thing is, last couple of weeks, especially tonight, we've had this build-up of Ric Flair versus Sting.
Yeah.
It just was a letdown, big letdown.
It really was. But there we go. That's TNA Impact Wrestling for you with two old guys in the main event scene. We really want to see changes there. And by the way, we're doing a video on how we would improve TNA. Make sure you check it out on Wednesday, because this is going to be the kind of thing we're going to be talking about.
We are, and hopefully you'll enjoy that.
Yeah, make sure you get your comments on TNA Impact Wrestling down in that comment section below, of course. And I give this show a C. I think that's pretty average. Would you say a C?
C, even though it could have lent towards C- for me.
Okay then, so C, C-. There we go. That's the grade for the show. Right, that's been it from us. Comments down below, like I said. Keep subscribing up above. That's been it from us. Stretch Fist. And if you want to support us, do that. And then listen to NJ, because he's going to say something really awesome right about now.
All I'm going to say is thank you for tuning into this next TNA video, and tune in for next week's. And all I can say is that it's been it from Mr. Parkin and me, NJ. What's up? Goodbye!